Welcome to today's podcast for our A360 series. My name is Brewster Knowlton of the Knowlton Group, and today we're going to talk about what is a KPI. KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator, and a good definition of a KPI is a set of quantifiable measures that a company uses to gauge or compare performance in terms of meeting their strategic and operational goals. That definition of a KPI has two key words that I want to point out. The first is quantifiable. If your key performance indicators can't be quantified, it's very difficult to gauge your performance towards your strategic goals. So a KPI has to be quantifiable. And then the other key word in that definition is they're strategic. So we want to look at what are the strategic goals of our organization and then what quantifiable measures support those strategic goals or enable us to gauge our progress towards those strategic goals. So those are two key words in that definition that I want to point out that are really critical to what makes a key performance indicator different from just a standard metric. A standard metric, as opposed to a KPI, is going to be a lot more operational or tactical in nature and lack some of the strategic focus that a KPI will possess. So if you're, for example, a CFO of a bank or credit union, your KPI might be return on average assets or efficiency ratio. Those are pretty important, oftentimes strategic KPIs. But there are metrics that support those KPIs that maybe aren't as high level or aren't as strategic, like your operating expenses or perhaps your net income. While those are important metrics, they might not be justified as a key performance indicator that directly supports the strategic goals that you might have as that CFO. So KPIs tend to be much more strategic in nature, whereas metrics are more operational and tactical. KPIs are really important regardless of whether you're an organization just starting out with analytics or one who has a much higher analytics maturity. And KPIs are critical because they drive your success towards your strategic goals and they help monitor your progress. So you really need to emphasize what are the strategic objectives of my organization. And then once those objectives are laid out, ask yourself, what measures can I create that will determine and gauge my progress towards that strategic objective? There's a great quote by W. Edwards Deming that says, you can't manage what you don't measure. So the important part of KPIs is that if you are measuring the right things, then naturally our staff will have a tendency to manage towards what we are trying to measure. The byproduct of this is the organization naturally aligns around the strategic goals simply because we are measuring our success through our KPIs that are aligned with those strategic goals. In summary, KPIs stands for Key Performance Indicators, and they're the set of quantifiable measures that a company uses to gauge or compare its performance towards their strategic goals. That's all for today's A360, and I hope to see you again next time.